Apple just started selling the super quiet Blackmagic eGPU, a Thunderbolt 3 external GPU designed with macOS in mind. This is the first time Apple has sold an eGPU. Is it worth the $700 asking price? Let's find out. Let's first talk about what you are getting for $700. The GPU is a Radeon Pro 580 with 8GB of GDDR5 memory. You'll also get a Thunderbolt 3 pass-through, 4 USB 3.0 ports, 1 HDMI 2.0 port, and 85 watts of power delivery through the Thunderbolt 3 ports to charge your laptop. As far as the build quality goes, Apple is going for a seamless plug-and-play design. As soon as you plug it in, the MacBook will recognize what it is and boost the graphics power. That said though, gaming graphics are boosted only on the external display plugged into the eGPU. Tweaks exist to improve the gaming graphics performance on the internal display, but that takes away from the seamlessness. The same thing occurs with programs. You have to change certain settings in the GPU-intensive program to take advantage of the eGPU. If the program doesn't have this option, you'll again have to find a workaround online. Regardless of whether or not the program is supported, another thing that takes away from the seamlessness is that before you unplug the MacBook from the eGPU, you'll have to press a specific eject button in your Mac's menu bar. As I said, all of this takes away from the seamlessness and simplicity factor that Apple is going for. On the flip side, the eGPU stays quiet during load, but it comes at a cost. The large internal fan and heatsink causes the overall dimensions to be approximately 1 foot in height and half a foot in length and width. The weight is 10 pounds. As a result, the large enclosure will take up a lot of space on your desk. And yes, I mean desk. The eGPU ships with a 1.6 foot or 0.5 meter Thunderbolt 3 cable. This short cable forces you to keep the large eGPU on your desk, a foot away from you at all times. For a $700 device, I personally would like the option to place the eGPU wherever I like. Even though the eGPU is sculpted for aesthetics, its short Thunderbolt 3 cable length and large size will take away from your workspace. Now let's talk about the Thunderbolt 3 hub. The addition of 4 USB 3 Type A ports is a really nice addition, since Apple stopped including these types of ports on their laptops back in 2015. It turns the eGPU into a Thunderbolt 3 dock. Apple sells a different $350 Belkin dock that doesn't boost any graphics. The funny thing is, though, that the Belkin dock ships with a Thunderbolt 3 cable at twice the length at 3.3 feet or 1.0 meters. One of the Thunderbolt 3 ports on the eGPU can charge your MacBook as long as it's pulling less than 85 watts of power. If you wanted to, you can use the other Thunderbolt 3 port to daisy chain another Thunderbolt 3 hub to the eGPU. But most reviewers are excited that the Apple's LG 5K ultrafine display can be plugged into the eGPU. I personally don't have this display. I actually use two 30-inch cinema displays that connect via older DVI-D dual-link connections. Most GPUs today still have this port, but the Blackmagic eGPU does not. Either you use a Thunderbolt 3 display or you use an HDMI monitor using the current HDMI 2.0 port. Now let's get into the performance boost. MacBooks are not meant for gaming, but this eGPU really ups their game. Let's run some benchmarks. The 2018 13-inch MacBook Pro's integrated Intel Iris Plus graphics 655 runs Tomb Raider at 720p low settings with an average of 62.3 frames per second. And there were some significant stutter that caused the min frames per second to drop to 21.2. After plugging in the eGPU, the results are improved to an average of 112.2 frames per second when running the game on an external display. This is an 80% improvement. The internal display does not show this kind of improvement though. The OpenGL GPU score from Geekbench is also improved from 33,606 to 113,046 when using the eGPU. This is over 3 times the performance. If you've read my 2015 MacBook Air review, you'll know that I love that laptop. It is one of the best valued laptops Apple sells. Is the Blackmagic eGPU backwards compatible with Thunderbolt 2 devices like the MacBook Air? Sadly, Apple removed eGPU support for Thunderbolt 1 and 2 devices in a recent update, but a script developed by Purge Wrangler re-enables this functionality. All you need to do is run the script and purchase a Thunderbolt 3 to Thunderbolt 2 adapter. The 2015 13-inch MacBook Air's integrated HD Graphics 6000 runs Tomb Raider at 720p low settings with an average of 36.7 frames per second. These results are improved to an average of 68.5 frames per second when plugging in the eGPU. This is an 87% improvement. The performance won't be as good as anything with a Thunderbolt 3 port, but the improvement is still significant over the MacBook Air's integrated graphics. Geekbench's OpenGL scores improved from 18,404 to 106,443 when using the eGPU. This is over 5 times the performance. Now let's talk about the upgradability. Sadly, there is no ability to upgrade, just like mostly everything else Apple has been selling the past few years. That means that instead of spending $100 to $300 for a new graphics card a few years down the road, you'll have to spend another $700 for a new all-in-one eGPU, if Apple decides to sell another one. Most other eGPUs on the market allow the capability to switch out the graphics card. Click like if you liked this video. Please subscribe if you want to see more. Check out dansbesttech.com for a full written review.